So most people learn candlesticks the wrong way. All right. They memorize patterns and doji candles, hammer candles, shooting stars, morning stars, evening stars, different candle types. And they then go to a live chart and realize they can't use any of that because the market doesn't print textbook patterns. Okay. Here's the reality about candlesticks. They're not patterns to memorize. They are a language to learn. All right. Understand that every single candle on a chart is telling you something. Most of them are saying nothing important, but some of them, the right ones in the right place at the right time, they are telling you exactly what's about to happen next. All right. So today I'm going to show you how to read them the right way. First, we'll go through this PowerPoint to give you an understanding of candlestick anatomy. Then we'll actually get to a live chart. Okay. So first off, understand that every candle has four pieces of information: the open, the close, the high, and the low. Okay. In this specific scenario where you see in this candle here printed on the screen, this is a bearish candle, which means that this candle was controlled by sellers. This candle sold down. So this candle opened up based on the previous candle close. This candle opened up here. At some point, they fluctuated up to this point, meaning the buyers tried to take control but couldn't. And at some point, they fluctuated all the way down to this point, meaning the sellers were even more in control, right? But at the end of this time period, depending on what time frame we're looking at this candle opened here, sellers maintained control throughout that time period, and the sellers closed here. So this is a nice, decently strong bearish candle. Okay. So next we'll go into the body. All right, the body is the thickest part of the candle. Okay, the body is the distance between the open and the close price. It tells you who won the battle during that candle. So again, this is an example of a bearish candle, meaning sellers won that battle. Sellers stayed in control, which just means at this current time and price in the market, more sellers were in the market and in control of direction than the buyers. Vice versa, this is a bullish candle, meaning this candle opened here at the low, closed here at the high. This is the lowest point of that candle. This is the highest point of the candle. This is the open. This is the close, because this candle opened here based on the last previous candle and it went up. It was bullish. The buyer stayed in control of this. Okay. So the body, again, like I said, that the thick part is just the distance between where price opened and where it closed. That tells you who won the battle during the candle, the buyers and sellers. Next we have is the wicks. All right. The wicks, those thin lines above and sometimes below the candle, right? They just simply show you where price traveled but got rejected. The market went there and got pushed back. So same thing here. This is a bearish candle. This candle opened here. At some point, they fluctuated all the way up here. So at some point in real time, this candle was a bullish candle. The buyers did try to come in and push price higher, but they failed to. Sellers rejected it hard. Sellers took back control of the market, and the candle fluctuated back down and closed down here into a bearish candle with a wick on it. A lot of times these types of candles are doing something that is important in the market, which is taking liquidity. This wick on this candle, depending on where it is and what's happening at that time in the market, this could be considered a sweep. This wick could be considered a sweep. We'll go over that later. Okay. Vice versa for the bullish candle example. This candle opened here. At some time, the sellers came in and tried to bring price down to here, but they failed, and the bullers and the buyers end up taking back control of the market, and the market brought back up, and the candle closed here, right, leaving a wick to the downside. This, again, depending on where at in the market at the time when this candle is printed, it could have taken liquidity from previous candles or previous structure, which could be significant in reading these types of candles. Okay. So understand from that, when you look at a candle, you're not just looking at a shape, you're reading a complete story of what happened during that time period. Okay. Where did it start? Where did they try to go? Where did it get rejected? And where did it end up? Now, here's what most people get wrong. They look at candles one at a time, and that's not how you read them. Okay. You have to read them in a sequence. So understand, when you see candles like this, bears came down, sellers came down, and then we all of a sudden start to reverse up. This is a story that's being told. There was something down here in this area on a real price chart. The reason why the sellers came down, tapped into this area, and then we reversed away from it. Okay. Bears were in control, then buyers came in. I'm sorry, sellers were in control, and then the buyers came in and took control. Okay. So next, we'll talk about the actual important candles, okay? The candles that actually matter. Now, you got four types of candles based on how I trade that are actually important. You have engulfing candles, sweep candles, structure breaking candles, and indecision candles. Now, I'm going to also show you again on the live chart actual examples of these candles, but I want you to have the exact definition first, because once we go to the chart, it will not be as perfect in the way it looks, but it will still, the concept will still stick. Engulfing candles, okay? Completely, they cover the body of the previous candle before them. They give strong directional intent, and I call these often decision candles because these are the candles that actually make decisions in driving the momentum of the market in new directions, okay? Um, a bullish engulfing candle, that means the buyers took over completely. The bearish engulfing candle, that means sellers took over completely. When they show up in the right area, they are telling you direction is coming. They're telling you direction is continuing or reversing. All right. Next, you have sweep candles. These are kind of like similar to these right here with the wick on it. Okay. So sweep candles, you got long wicks that reach out and they take liquidity from a level, or could sometimes go beyond a specific level, and then they snap back. The wick is the sweep. These often, most of the times when these candles sweep the previous candle, or they sweep a structure or sweep liquidity, they form something called single candle order blocks, which later on can be used as supply or demand zones for the market to return to and react to. All right. And we'll look at that on the chart. Next, you have structure breaking candles. You have candles that close above or below a significant level. Understand that when price has been respecting a level and a candle finally closes cleanly through that level, the balance of power in that moment has now changed and shifted. And we can sometimes use that to determine if the market is going to continue in a certain direction or not. Lastly, we have indecision candles or indecisive candles. These are simply candles that barely have any bullish or bearish body on them, but they may or may not have wicks on both sides. But these candles are, think of it like a stop sign in the market. You come to a stop sign and you have to make a decision to go left or right. This means that nobody was in control at that point in time when price closed, okay? So first, what we're going to do, where to start as a beginner, we're going to find a reversal point on the charts, and we're just going to look at the candles and begin to track the candles and start to form an understanding of how price moves through the market. It works best when you use the replay feature, or you are on the charts in real time when the market is open, so you can actually see how these candles fluctuate in between the time periods and then how they close, okay? So remember, candlesticks are not a system to memorize. They are a language to learn. So let's take a look at some candles. All right, so here we go on a chart. I marked out some examples for you guys, okay? Let's actually go here. Start here at this reversal point. So first I'm gonna show you examples of, like I told you, a bullish engulfing candle, a bearish engulfing candle. So first we see here, this is considered a bearish engulfing candle. Now, what makes this a bearish engulfing candle? Because as you can see, the body of this red candle completely engulfs, it consumes the entire body of the green candle next to it. That is what makes this red candle a bearish engulfing candle. It completely engulfed this candle. Also, what you can see is this is what we call a displacement. This bearish candle displaced below the body of the bullish candle, which gives us some directional intent. It gives us some information and lets us know that the market may want to continue down at this time in price. Okay. So next we see a bullish engulfing candle. Okay. And as you see, the body of this green candle completely engulfs and consumes the body of the red candle. Again, this gives us directional intent. It lets us know that the market is proceeding or attempting to go higher. Okay. It is showing momentum. It is showing strength. We have displacement. It displaced above the previous candle. This is very good information for when you're trying to determine direction or you're trying to determine when to get into a trade. Okay. So next, this is the reversal point that we'll start from later. And I gave you more examples. Again, a bearish engulfing candle completely engulfs the previous candle. And then a bullish engulfing candle completely engulfs the body of the previous bearish candle. All right. So next, let's take a look at sweep candles. Let me actually make this bigger so you can see. Let's take a look at some sweep candles, okay? So a sweep, like I said before, is just when the wick of a candle sweeps the previous candle. So as we see here, this candle here, this bullish candle sweeps the low of the previous candle, okay? This means that this bullish candle here took liquidity from this candle here, all right? And like I talked about before with indecision candles, indecisive candles, that is what this candle here is. Can't make an arrow, sorry. This candle is an indecisive candle. Why? Because it has no body on it. This entire area is a cluster where this is when the momentum in the market begins to shift. okay? So that's a sweep candle. That's one sweep candle. And it's plenty in here. I'm just showing you a few. This is a great example of when a candle sweeps liquidity or sweeps a session. This candle here at the peak of London session, which was about 3:15 a.m., they swept the high of Asian session. So this candle is a sweep candle that took liquidity from Asian. It's a sweep candle. This candle here is a sweep candle. This candle was at 9:30. It swept the high of the 9 o'clock candle. All right. And if we look to the left, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but yes, this is a sweep candle. It's one example of another example of a sweep candle. Same thing here. This candle sweeps this candle because the wick of this candle went above this candle. Okay. It swept that candle, took the liquidity from this bullish engulfing candle. All right. As you see, yes, bullish engulfing candle. Next candle we got are structure breaking candles, and this is another engulfing. All right. Another sweep. It swept London. I'm just showing you guys examples. It swept the low of London. Cool. Next, we have structure break candles. All right, cool. So this huge bearish engulfing candle here, bearish candle here, it swept, it closed below this minor structure. So it broke this structure, okay? And this is a minor structure. It's not that important, but it's still an area of significance to a certain degree because this bearish candle here broke below this structure, closed below all of these candles actually, okay? So that's a structure break candle. Most of the time, structure breaking candles are very big, they're powerful, and they close. That's the most significant part. It did not sweep these lows, it closed below them, okay? It's another structure breaking candle. And as you see with this structure breaking candle, it is breaking what? This structure, breaking above this high from the previous day, and it closed above. So that's a structure breaking candle, okay? See if I have any more on here. Nope, that's all for structure breaking candles. Oh, I have another one here. Another structure breaking candle. This massive bullish candle here, bullish engulfing candle, it closed above these highs here. These minor structure highs closed above. So this is a structure breaking candle, okay? And remember, it's not about taking these individually candles as a setup or a trade. These are just candles that you need to learn to read, because in totality of your whole trading system, when you start to put these candles together, you begin to be able to read the story of the market. And last is the indecision candle. So this will be an indecision candle. There is no body on the candle, it has wicks on both sides. Same thing with this one. Only difference with this candle is it took liquidity, but it's still an indecisive candle because there's no body on this candle. These types of candles happen when the market begins to change direction. As you see, we're coming up and then they started going down. This is not always the case when the market changes direction, but this happens frequently when the market changes direction. Indecision candle. So let's go see if we can find more of those indecisive candles. Over here, once again, indecision candles. Indecision, indecision. There's no body on those candles. The market was contemplating changing direction. They were at a supply zone. I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but yes, these candles are indecisive. They have no body on them. So yeah, let me see where else. I think that's it for those. So yes, that's pretty much all it is when it comes to candles. And I mean, every candle, you got another candle that swept. You got, let's see, another engulfing candle here, but every candle is not important. It depends more so on where that candle is in the market. And like I said here, you can go to any point on the chart and start at a point like this where the market reversed. We came down to this area and then we reversed away from here. We just kept going. And if you start to read these candles one after the other, it tells a story, right? So we had strong bearish pressure coming to this massive zone. Let me give you guys a quick breakdown. London liquidity was swept. No candle ever displaced or closed below this candle here. Every candle after this simply, and this candle is considered a single candle order block because it took liquidity from previous candles and a previous low, previous session. So this candle can be used as a single candle order block, a demand zone, which is why you see this candle mitigate inside of this candle, and same thing for this candle. Now, if we look closer here, we can see that the market did something. Strong bearish pressure, another bearish candle, and then this candle here is bullish. Now, remember, this bearish candle, let me take this out of the way and zoom in some more for you. This bearish candle here closed at this point. This bullish candle opened at this point. And this bullish candle was one point all the way up here, but the bulls did not have enough strength, enough momentum to close price at this area. So then this candle came all the way down and closed here. The next bullish candle opened up here. Now this bullish candle had the strength and the momentum, and it drove price up and it closed here. So now the bulls are back in control. The bears were just in control as we reach this demand zone. Now the bulls take back control. Next, you have a candle here. This is one of those candles that's not as significant. The only thing that's kind of important about this candle is it swept the previous candle high. So it somewhat took liquidity from that candle. This candle opened here and it closed here bearish. So the bears attempted to retake control. This candle here opened here and closed here. The bulls came back in, swept the previous candle and regained control. And then you have what? A big bullish engulfing candle that closed. So that kind of just goes to tell you here, it kind of breaks the story down. The sellers were in control. They came into this zone. They could not break this overall zone area. Okay. They could not break this zone, right? But they did manage to take liquidity from the previous London session, and then they shifted momentum from bearish, and the bulls came back in control. So buyers basically took control at this zone and reversed the market back up, okay? Then after they closed above this London structure, bears attempted to bring the market back down, right? It was a battle between the bulls and the bears. You see we got a little bit of indecision. Bears tried again. Bears tried again. The bulls tried again. The bears tried again. And then ultimately bullish, the bulls came back in. The buyers came back in and regained control and began to drive price higher. So that's like a simple way of me explaining how to read these candles, how to read the story. Okay, so this is what I tell you to do. Start at a point like this, just a simple point like this in the market. Find a point in the chart with the market reversed. Okay, start there and track the candles from that point forward. Don't try to analyze everything the way I just did, but just watch the candles. Okay, understand that momentum, you'll start to see how momentum begins to shift the market. Sometimes it can shift somewhat moderately slow like this. Sometimes it's a rapid shift like this, rapid shift like this, so it just depends. And as you continue to do this in practice, you'll begin to realize how to read price and how to actually see the candlesticks and understand what the market is trying to tell you. Okay, understand that candlesticks are not a system to memorize. They are a conversation between buyers and sellers.